This is Ray.
This is Andy.
And this is FDS Local Sports.
What's up, Ray?
Andy.
What's up?
Things are pretty good.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, things are pretty good. We're well into the football season here in New Brunswick now. I've got another, just came off an AUS and high school game. I got another high school and AUS game coming up. I'm full-fledged into my season now.
Good stuff. You're busy as an official, and this is the busy time for our podcast as well, as we're pumping out 3 shows today.
3 shows today.
All the leagues are rolling, so
that's right.
Let's get rolling.
All right, let's get going. Andy, we're going to start off in the 12-man Division II League because there was a Thursday night game this week.
Okay.
And that game was between Harrison Tremble and Kennebecasis Valley down in St. John. And Harrison Tremble comes out with a win on this one, 11-2.
Excellent.
11-2. I'd give you some stats. I don't have any stats for this football game, so why don't we move on to the next one?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. On Friday night, we had the Fredericton Black Cats.
Black Cats.
That's right,
Yep.
Fredericton Black Cats. They were going off against Leo Hayes High School.
Mm-hmm.
Battle of Fredericton.
Battle of Fredericton.
Okay, and what a battle this was. It was a big defensive game, Andy. The Leo Hayes came out in this game 10-7.
10-7.
10-7.
That's a tight one.
Yeah, the game opened up from Leo Hayes. Jackson Reeder opened up with a field goal.
We hear that name a lot, Jackson.
Yeah, followed up by, in the second half, we had Mike Surrier on a long drive. He capped off that drive with a 2-yard touchdown run, Andy.
Excellent.
And that really got them going. But late in the fourth, Fredericton bounced back with a touchdown of their own by a kid named Ethan Ray.
Ethan Ray.
Ethan Ray. That kid's got a great last name.
Is it spelled with an R, though?
Yeah, it's spelled with an R.
Well, it's not perfect, I guess.
It's not perfect.
I like it, Ethan, by the way.
It's good.
I think it's
good.
great.
There you
Great
go.
Last name, Ethan.
Leo Hayes wins that game 10-7, Andy. 10-7.
Yep.
All right, let's head back to a Moncton game going here. But before we talk about this game, we've got to send it off to our little special reporter.
Exactly. Seth Foster is back.
He's back, baby.
Somehow,
He's back.
After what we put him through last season, he was willing to come back and report on the games for us. He's going to be reporting on this one from Bernice McNaughton High School, where he actually goes to school now.
He is in grade 9 at Bernice McNaughton. And, watch out because he'll eventually be on that Bernice McNaughton football team.
Absolutely. Seth, tell us about the game.
Hey guys, Seth Foster, you know me from last year, and I'm back. But this year, I'm at beautiful Bernice McNaughton High School, the team I love. So doesn't that just work out? This past weekend, we had a great game between the Odyssey Olympians, or Odyssey, and the Bernice McNaughton Highlanders. The game ended 24-16 for the Olympians. Sadly for my boys, but that's okay, we had a good outing. To start the game, when O Canada was playing, there was an outrage in the stands. The Bernice McNaughton fans sang the anthem in French. Way to support, fans. Good for you guys. Javon Johnson, running back for the Bernice McNaughton Highlanders, had a total yards of 72. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but the Highlanders didn't have many in total, so it was a lot. Good for him. Odyssey DBs had 4 interceptions, so shout out to them, and that really changed the game. With 4 interceptions, they had the ball so much more, and they got a ton of yards on offense, so they did a great job there. Devin Niles is a really good quarterback, and that showed in the first half, although he went out with an arm injury sometime in the second or third quarter, and he didn't play again. So, I don't know, we'll see how that plays out. And this week, the Bernice McNaughton Highlanders are away to the Oromocto Blues, but the JV Highlanders play here in Moncton at Rocky Stone on Sunday at 1 p.m., and this guy's going to be playing. So be there or become a physical square. Oh, that's the bell. I gotta go. These grade 12s, they're gonna run over me.
Thanks, Seth. Looking good. Basically got his A game going right out of the gate.
Out of the gate.
What'd you think of that one?
First take, too. First take for Seth. Hey, you know what? Seth did a great job telling us about that game. Hoping everything's good with Devin Niles. That kid is a pretty good quarterback, Andy.
Oh, yes.
Pretty good quarterback. One other player I want to give a shout out to is Cody Fogarty. This kid had 2 touchdown runs, one from 50 yards and one from 15 yards.
There you go.
So ought to say
50-yard run. Woo.
Yeah, ought to say 24-16 over Bernice McNaughton. Great game.
Yep.
Let's head over to, we're going back to St. John, and this is Ormucto High School. The Ormucto Blues were taking on St. Malachy's.
Yep.
Saints. And Andy, what a game this was. Refereed by the one and only Allison Gates.
Oh, Al.
Okay.
Big Al.
This game was won by St. Max 15-12.
Mm-hmm.
But, Andy, I've had numerous parents, coaches send me a little clip of a video.
You know it's big when I'm also getting it sent to me.
Yes,
I
that's
actually
right.
got this video sent to me a couple of times as well.
You did. And the very last play of the game, there was a ball thrown into the end zone by the Ormucto Blues. The ball was caught. It was ruled as incomplete. Mm-hmm. Now, there's a film company called All Eyes East that has a shot making it look like the foot may have been in bounds. Mm-hmm. Keep in mind, that video is coming from the middle of the end zone, not down the line.
Yeah.
So if you have the view down the line, that perception may change a little bit.
Right.
We did see black pebbles jump up from the turf.
Yeah.
But what I want to remind people is if you're in the green section of the turf, the white section of the turf, or even if you're on the yellow line on some of the fields that got yellow lines, guess what, Andy? It's all still black stuff that's going to come up from those sections.
Right.
Okay.
Yep, it's all the same stuff.
So, anyways, close game. St. Max wins that game, and 15-12.
I can definitely understand it. Heartbreaker of a play, especially, obviously if you're rooting for that team, it certainly looks inbounds to you at the time. But again, there is no replay, thank goodness, in high school football. They made the call on the field. We've seen angles of the play, and I mean, it was the right call.
Yeah, it's really tough to tell from that angle. I've watched it. Trust me, I've watched it numerous of times, wanting to get a good thought on it for tonight's show.
Yep.
Keep in mind, there's also no instant replay at the university level either.
Very
AUS
true.
or
Very true.
AFL has no replays either. So, this is a tough loss for the Blues, but I'm sure they're going to bounce back for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. In a game that I happened to be officiating this weekend, we had the St. John Greyhounds going up against the Riverview Royals.
Yep.
What a game this was. It's the 12-man AAA.
Yep.
I was waiting to see what these two teams look like this year. They both are very well coached. Both coaches, Coach Grandy from St. John, Coach Mersavier in Riverview, both these guys know how to coach football. And Andy, they did not disappoint. This game came down to a 28-25 score, and St. John won this game on the final drive of the game.
Woo.
It was a really good football game. I'll tell you this, both teams were really amped up. Players were amped up, ready to go. Maybe a little too amped up at sometimes, but we got through it. We got through it.
Yeah, I'll take your word for it since you were out there on the field.
That's
We'll
right.
Leave it at that.
Let me just give you a couple stats from this game. Logan McNamee, number 7 for the Greyhounds. He had 72 yards rushing, Andy, and 3 touchdowns. On top of that, he threw for 198 yards with a touchdown pass, and the touchdown went to Chad Alexander.
Great.
Now, their defense didn't disappoint either, Andy. They have this kid on defense. He had 9 tackles and 1 interception.
Nice.
Okay. His name is John Korskaden. Korskaden.
Well, I mean, your first 2 attempts were actually decent. I don't know how you say this either, but your first 2 attempts were actually like the way I would try. Your third one, you brought out your Ray. And you
I tried my best.
You added on.
We have a local FDS fan out of St. John named Melissa. And Melissa, please let us know if we messed up on that one. I'm going to go back with Korskaden. And if we got that right, let us know. And if we didn't...
Korskaden sounds right. There's 2 Ds, so Korskaden. Unless the C is silent, Korsaden. Sadly, we better move on.
We better move on. Let's talk about Riverview real quick, because Riverview also had a really good game. They've got this little wide receiver, number 80. His name is Spencer Howe.
Okay.
This kid can fly. Fly. I don't want to. He's a shorter wide receiver.
Right.
But in today's football game, shorter wide receivers are very successful in all levels of football, Andy.
There's a place on the field for a short wide receiver.
This kid can fly.
Yep.
And when he gets open, Zach McCall, the quarterback, just tossed the ball up to the left side of the field towards the benches. Spencer Howe went and got it and took it to the house for a 53-yard touchdown, Andy.
Awesome.
Yeah. We also had Drew Grant, who also had a 3-yard touchdown for the Riverview Royals as well. So what a great first game of the year for me working high school football. Again, it was a great game from start to finish, and I look forward to more high school games as we go.
Let's go.
All right. Let's talk about Tantramar.
Oh, boy.
Tantramar. Tantramar was hosting the Moncton High School Knights.
Yeah.
All right.
The team that was expected to probably give them the biggest challenge.
To give them the biggest challenge.
At least that's what we heard.
And listen, Tantramar, I didn't know what to expect out of him this year.
Right.
Right?
We didn't know who was back.
Lucas Cormier, the dominant one. He's up to Mount A now.
Yep.
I've also heard, now I haven't had this confirmed yet, but they have this unbelievable running back who's, just been dominant, Oliver Longpre.
Yeah.
And I've heard something happened in the offseason and that he's not playing this year. I'm waiting for confirmation on that, but from my sources tell me that Longpre's not playing. So I didn't know what to expect from Tantramar.
That's a big loss.
But Tantramar came out, and Tantramar did what Tantramar does. They beat the Knights 27-10 in this one, Andy. 2 running backs, Mason Prescott and Owen O'Neill.
Owen O'Neill.
Another O'Neill.
Yeah.
They both put up 2 rushing touchdowns. There's your 4 touchdowns in the game right there. And from Moncton High, their touchdown came from Ryan LeBlanc. He caught a reception from quarterback Dylan House.
Okay.
Dylan House. So those are some new names that we haven't talked about at the high school program before.
Yep.
I don't recall using their names before, but hey, it's off and running. Let's see if one of those 2 teams I did in my game can challenge Tantramar this year.
Let's see what happens.
All right.
Yep.
There you go. Andy, I got one more game, and then we're going to switch things over to you, and that's Simons against St. Stephen.
Yep.
St. Stephen was coming off that loss to the Castoles.
Somewhat shocking loss.
Somewhat shocking.
Castoles.
But they've come back in this week, and they knocked off Simons in a score of 14-12. Austin Young and Dylan Day, they both had touchdown runs, and those are names we've heard in the past.
Yep.
So if St. Stephen can get back on that winning track, watch out for them as we head down the road in the high school season.
Yeah, no doubt that the first game was a bit of an anomaly. Again, the Castoles are a very good team, but that was a shocker, so this seems a little bit more par for the course.
There you go.
Yep.
All right, Andy, let's go over to you and talk a little 9-man football.
Let's run through the 9-man division. The first game to talk about is Sussex at Harborview. This was a tight one. My goodness. So Sussex takes this game 7-6. 7-6. Now, I'll do this. We haven't been doing this all the way through the games, but I'll very quickly mention, of course, our 3 analysts who do the predictions on these games.
Yeah.
I'll tell you how they did in the 9-man division, because Denny told me that his 3 analysts probably will have the hardest time in the 9-man this year. All 3 of the analysts got this game correct.
Yeah.
But they definitely didn't call it being anywhere near this close. I believe this was the first game for both these teams. I don't think they played the makeup for the games that they had to get canceled in week 1 due to the hurricane. We've got some stats from Sussex here. Quarterback Owen Dunfield, he was 10 for 15. He had 84 yards. Noah Forgrave had 4 receptions for 26 yards, and it was Delbert Smith who, with his 1 reception, who scored the 8-yard touchdown that got Sussex this 7-6 win.
Good
we didn't
job.
get anything from Harborview. We're going to go ahead and assume that either Harborview missed if they did score a touchdown, we're not sure. They missed their extra point, went for 2, didn't get it. We're not sure. It could have been 2 field goals.
Yeah, could have been 2 field goals. Could be anything.
Yeah.
It could have been 6 ruses, Andy. You never know.
It could have been that too.
Could have
right?
been
All right.
3 safeties.
Moving on.
right.
So, the next game in the 9-man, Rothesay was visiting at my MVHS Pulamu. This game was actually tighter than the score would show, but Rothesay took this game 48-20.
Wow.
Now, when I first saw the score, I was talking to Coach Rich Peary. I said, "Good effort, Coach." He said, "No, not good enough at all. Very sloppy week of practice, and it really showed in the game." So, boys, get it together.
Come on, let's
All
go.
right, let's do this. The MVHS starting quarterback left the game with a sprained wrist. It was an injury that he's had for a while now. He re-aggravated it. And the backup quarterback had to come in and he played almost the entire game with a dislocated finger on his throwing hand. Pierce Sweeney, he had well over 150 yards rushing and a touchdown. He also had a 65-yard reception touchdown from that backup quarterback, Will Faulkner, who was playing with the finger trouble. And we've got Levi Dweron, who had 100 yards of rushing, a touchdown, and he had a 2-point conversion.
Wow. Awesome.
Now, on the Rothesay side of things, quarterback Quinn LeBlanc had not quarterback, but Quinn LeBlanc had 3 touchdowns on the ground and 100 yards rushing. Ethan Finnegan and Joseph Dweron each they connected twice on 2 touchdowns. And we had rushing touchdowns from John Barry and Connor Stites.
Nice.
And I just wanted to let everybody know that the Rothesay coaching staff sent, in their notes that they sent us, had a huge shout out for number 15 of MVHS. That's all they
great.
told us, and I was able to confirm that number 15, which I believe I guessed quite easily, was indeed Pierce Sweeney. So
There you go.
Good effort,
Good job,
guys.
Pierce. Good job.
But listen to your coach, all right? You got to practice better. You got to get out there. Obviously, the expectations that MVHS has for themselves are greatly increased, and that is a good thing. In the final 9-man game, we have Hampton also coming up to the Miramichi to play James M. Hill. Oh, by the way, that last game, the MVHS game, all 3 of our analysts did predict the outcome of that one correctly.
Good
now,
job.
This next game, JMH, all 3 analysts got it wrong. And let me tell you, the coach, Martin Moore of the GMH, he noticed.
He noticed.
He noticed, and he let
All
me
right.
know. He let me know.
Was it blackboard material? Is that what's going on?
Maybe a little something like that.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love
it's
it.
definitely up there. GMH blanks Hampton 13-0, and they actually had like 3 touchdowns called back. And let's just say that Coach Moore had some questions about some of those calls. And we are going to leave it at that.
Okay.
Will Woods had 2 touchdowns, 120 yards passing. We had 68 yards rushing as well. Andrew Savoy, 4 receptions. He also had 12 tackles. He plays on the other side. The Tommy defense as a whole, 8 sacks, 5 interceptions, and 4 forced fumbles.
Wow. That's a big defensive day.
It is a big defensive day. And Dawson Martin, there's a lot of Martins over there on that Chatham side. He's a linebacker. He had 2 sacks, 13 tackles. Good job, guys. So this game is unlike the other game, which was much closer than it appeared. This one was not even close to as close as it appeared.
Okay.
All right.
There you
That's
go.
your 9-man update.
There you go. Well, Andy, we got one more high school game to talk about. Before we talk about that game, though, I just want to give you a quick rundown of what happened at the AUS this weekend.
Do it.
AUS played their 3rd week of the season, and on Friday night, I was down at St. Mary's University for the St. Mary's Acadia game, and what a game this was. Acadia got off to a big lead. Then they took their foot off the gas a little bit. St. Mary's came right back and took over the lead. But Acadia woke up and they finished it off 54-32 for the Acadia Axemen.
Wow.
The second game was Mount A on the road visiting Bishops, Andy.
I considered this a must-win.
They had
Really
to win
had to
this.
win this game.
You can't go 0-3 to start the season.
Yeah.
Well, they did.
Uh-huh.
Bishops have won this game 27-23, and they're tied for 3rd place this year, Andy, at 2-2.
Yep.
So good for Bishops. Their programs turn around. They're catching up with the other teams in the AUS.
Going in the right direction.
Watch out. They're moving in the right direction.
Yep.
There you go.
All right.
Let's go talk about our last high school game of the night.
Yes.
After my Riverview St. John game on Saturday, I popped over to Rocky Stone Field, and you joined me for a 3:30 kickoff between the Matthew Martin Matadors and
#Casters Nation.
#Caster Nation. Copyrighted by First Time Sports Podcast.
There you go.
Anyways, we caught a little bit of the first half.
Yeah.
And I have to say, Matthew Martin, they were playing pretty good football. They were giving the Casters offense a tough time. We saw them punt the ball a few times. I was impressed with what I was seeing from the Matadors.
Their defense played really, really well, and they were able to capitalize on some of the mistakes from the Castors. It was kind of windy. It was a little bit cold.
It was a cold, windy day.
And I'm not sure which Tremblay brother plays quarterback, but he lost grip of the ball a couple of times. He threw some wobblers up there, and Matthew Martin pounced on those things, and they capitalized. They had a harder time getting things rolling on the offensive side once they got a hold of the ball.
Yeah.
They did have a spectacular, like it looked like a different team out there, a final drive of the half where they were able to go in and score in the end zone. But yeah, I agree with you. I was very impressed with how they played.
Yeah. At halftime,
Yes.
we're standing out by the doors. We're talking to the officials and watching the teams come by. And Coach Drisdale from the Casters, Andy,
Yeah.
came out and gave us these shirts. Casters Nation.
Thank you very much, Casters
Hashtag.
Nation. Yep.
So thank you very much for the shirts. I love the colors.
Yeah,
And
very
I
nice.
have to tell you, the Matthew Martin jerseys
Yeah.
are almost the road colors for the Castors.
Yeah, it was a
Right?
pretty cool dynamic. Let me say both
love
those
the
teams
colors.
have excellent uniforms.
They do. They got great uniforms.
Excellent uniforms. We also had a coach from the Matthew Martin swing by where we were standing as
At
well.
halftime.
Yeah, and just kindly reminded us on the way by that apparently our three analysts, who a lot of people think we are two of,
Yeah.
we are not.
We're not.
Anyway, apparently all the predictions were that they would be shut out by the Casters. So that coach told us to take those predictions and do something with them, so to speak. You could read it in his eyes. It was very polite. No, and I don't know which coach that was, but anyways, yeah, people are noticing these predictions.
They are. And you know what?
And it's
Listen,
fuel. It's fuel.
As Andy said, we are not one of the three analysts on this three-person panel. This is our Denny Dweron and his team, and they do a great job. I love reading their articles every week, Andy.
Yep.
Even I read them.
Yeah.
And listen, if these articles are becoming blackboard material for
Yeah.
teams, I love it.
Motivation.
I love it.
And keep
because you're not going to get that blackboard material from the Times and Transcript or any of the papers.
Exactly. And
Right?
they had outstanding records last year. They came into this year, and again, I mean, this information is being relayed to us via Denis Dweron.
Yeah.
But they were expecting it to be a lot harder this year, and it has been a lot harder. And I mean, we got Pistol Pete, who's only at 9-8 in his predictions. You guys are proving these guys wrong. Keep doing it. Keep using it for motivation.
There you go. All right, guys. I don't know if I gave the score in the final game. The Casters win that game, Andy, 23-6.
Yeah.
And we saw Matthew Martin score a touchdown as well.
Great touchdown drive at the end of the half, like I mentioned. And we caught a lot of the second half. And it's not like they were playing poorly. There was a lot of punting in this.
Yeah.
A lot on both sides. So they played a tough game.
There you go. That's local sports for this week, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it, and we will be back next week with more local sports.
Catch you guys next week, and thanks again for Seth Foster for returning and putting up with us.
Thanks, Seth.
Hey, Ray, sound check okay? All right, everything looks good here, Seth. One question. What color's your shirt?
Oh, shoot. Gonna go shoot that.